Hello, hello. Welcome to this episode of the Rogers Radio Podcast. I am your host, Alyssa Rogers. Look at who I have here. I have two amazing guests, and one that's been on here. This is your third time. Say hello to everyone, Eric.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. Say hello. We have Mckena here. Say hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello, hello. And everyone that is watching, some of you may not know who these amazing individuals are. So we're going to get to know them today. But to start off, before I let them tell their amazing stories, I want to tell you guys about how important these two are to me and to Rogers, because really, I have so many people come up to me in the community and say, oh my gosh, your branding is so great. I see you everywhere. I see Rogers trucks on the road. I see you in emails. I see you in text messages. I hear you on the radio. I see you on billboards. Well, these two are the ones that actually help make all of that happen. And so I can never take credit for all of that because it takes a village and it takes really creative individuals. And these are the ones that are behind the scenes making it happen. So first, thank you all for
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Making this.
And possibly sorry if you're listening. If you hear the radio stuff too much.
If you're a longtime listener and supporter of the podcast, you know that Eric is one of the main reasons why we have this podcast and that we're sitting here today. So always very thankful to Eric for pushing me off the ledge to make this happen. So we'll start with you. Tell everyone who you are.
No one wants to hear who I am. I think Mckena should go first.
Oh, really?
Oh my God. Well, now I feel conceited if
Mckena.
I go first. So my name is Mckena. Yes. I own True North Strategies. So what I do is I operate as Alyssa's marketing assistant, marketing director.
Much more than an assistant.
Oh, okay. Well, it kind of just depends what my clients need. Do you need an assistant? Do you need a director just to make all the decisions and make it all happen? Or do you just want to help her? Alyssa makes it really easy to work with her. So I grew up in the trades. My dad has worked for and owned an HVAC company most of my life. So I found out once I started working for him after college that there's a lot of cool things happening in the home service industry, which I think you are a prime example of. Like, you have contractors now that have podcasts and are growing these brands and building these, I like to say, like, building these companies that kind of operate as like a ministry where like you're helping people grow. And so I just love to get to be a part of it, to take what I learned from my dad and to take what I've learned just throughout life and to help contractors just freaking kill it.
Yes.
So that's what I get to do.
And a story about how this relationship happened is when Joey and I took over the business in 2018, I knew nothing about the trades. And so, of course, we wanted to get involved in different communities that were doing amazing things in the trades. So we joined Service Nation, and all we heard about was Mckena. Like, I would join all these groups and these mastermind groups and all of this stuff. And they'd be like, Mckena, you got to get to know Mckena. You got to get to know Mckena. And I'm like, who is this Mckena? And so I started following you and everything that you were doing at the time. And I looked up to you so much. I'm like, if she's doing it, I have to do it, because everyone's talking about how great she is. So a lot of what you guys saw in Rogers in the early days, I was just pretty much copying everything Mckena was doing at the company she was at. And so then I finally got to know you and got introduced to you and started, talking about strategies and just becoming friends and rolling ideas off of one another. And then you took some more paths throughout your career, always follow what you did. Pretty much, like, if you went somewhere, I'm like, okay, we have to do that. And then you announced that you started your own company. And I went to Joey and I said, Joey, because we were at the point where it's like, do we need to hire someone internally? Like, what do we have to do? But we definitely need help on the marketing side. And I went to Joey, I'm like, I know what we need to do. And that's when we reached out to you.
I'm so honored. I think, and Eric, maybe you feel the same way, of just like imposter syndrome, that like
We've talked about this a
Oh
lot.
my gosh. It's just like such an honor. And especially in the home service industry, like there was a season where I was like getting awards and I was getting to speak in breakout sessions. And I think it was just because I came into the home service industry and I'd had all this experience going to college and just having my own experience, because primarily it was through social media that I was gaining this notoriety, because I came to work at my dad's company and he had me run his social media. And I said, well, we're running it contrary to what the platform itself is made for. And so I just started posting stuff that I knew I would like to see and others would like to see, to be entertained by. And before I knew it, people were calling me, asking me for advice and stuff like that. So it's been a wild ride, but I've been super grateful for, you know, like best practice groups like Service Nation, where I've just gotten to know really, really cool people and been blessed with like really good friendships like yours. So it's so fun.
Yes, and it's so amazing because we just signed on with True North not long ago. What has it been, like a month?
I've only been in business for like 6 months, like for real, for real. I was doing it as a side gig for a little while, but I just officially started 6 months ago. And
congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you. It really has just been an act of faith. Like, okay, Lord, I feel like this is what you're calling me to. If not, just knock me in my butt and I'll adjust. I'll go work for Eric. But otherwise, it's been, I already have 6 clients, and I'm just really, really enjoying getting to help others.
Yeah.
So, and getting to work with my friends.
I know, and one of the things you said when we were looking to partner up together and start working together, you're like, if we do this, I need to come and do a site visit, and I want to be there in person. We need to do a whiteboard session, so that's why you're here.
Yes.
And then when we signed on, I said, well, even before we signed on with you, I call Eric and I'm like, hey, Eric, this is what we're working on. This is what we're thinking about doing. What are you thinking? And I think it was through text or something. And you were like, let's go. Like you were so excited.
I was stoked.
Yes. And so let's talk about that a little bit, because now I want to hear your story again for everyone that hasn't listened, and you can go back in previous episodes and hear Eric's story as well, but tell everyone what you do.
Yeah, so I'll keep it brief. If you want to hear the whole story, there's 2 other episodes with it there. But so I'm the founder and president of Rival Digital. We're a full service digital marketing agency for the trades: HVAC, plumbing, electrical, and now garage doors. So if you know any garage door folks. So we do website design development, SEO, paid advertising on Google, LSA, Facebook, email marketing, and then podcast management, stuff like that. We started in October of 2020, and we started with Rogers in Q2 of 2022, and I felt huge imposter syndrome too. I remember driving home and seeing that Alyssa had signed the like the DocuSign like agreement for us to work together, and I like pulled over. I was like, holy shit. I was like, I can't. I was like, this is crazy. This is wild. Like this is insane. And I was like kind of choking at first. I think I remember when I was building your website, I was just like, I cannot for the life of me just get this to work. And then I was like, I'm just overthinking this. Like this is, I just do my thing, I guess. And so kind of try to get past that imposter syndrome. So our office is based in Chesapeake, Virginia, but our team's remote. So we're not too far away. And I remember Mckena we were talking, and she was saying that she was talking with Rogers, and I was like, hey, like just a heads up, they would really like the in-person, like I know like Joey and Alyssa are huge on like the in-person camaraderie. I was like, so if you could like throw a site visit in there, I'm sure they would love that.
Yep.
And so.
And it is so important to us because, when we partner with people, we truly look at it as a partnership. And it's like, if we're going to bring someone on to help us in any aspect of our business, we want to be present with them. We want to get to know them and become friends and become a community. And, when you own a business, it can be very lonely at times, and you can feel like the world is against you. But when you have a team of people around you that are cheering you on and supporting you along the way, it just makes such a big difference. And with the two of you, I know I could call both of you at any time and tell you about what was happening or, what I needed help with, and you would be there. And that's so important to us. And there are so many people in every industry that jump from vendor to vendor, and they're just looking for that next big thing. And sometimes you have to do it if you don't have a good relationship with a vendor. But majority of the time, if you just work with who you have and communicate what you need, they're going to be there.
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think, I think the in-person, anytime you can get in person with any of your vendors or partners, it makes the relationship so much better. And I think that the performance of that relationship is even stronger. And I was thinking, because it's like, it's easy for us to visit Rogers because like I can drive here. Yeah. It takes like 3 hours to drive here. It's not that bad. But even, clients that we have, like I've visited folks in Los Angeles before. I've visited clients all over. And something I've thought about where like we've had clients before be like, well, you never come visit me. It's like, well, I can't drive to North Dakota.
My time is limited.
Yeah, like I can't drive to North Dakota. Like I can drive from Chesapeake, Virginia to Virginia Beach, Virginia. It's 45 minutes. I can drive to South Boston. I could drive to North Carolina. But then I started thinking about it. It's like, but I could fly to visit you. And I think that if people started to switch their mindset with, instead of just being like, oh, I just got a bunch of vendors, come on team, let's go make me some money. If it started being viewed as a partnership, you wouldn't need to hop around as much. And you could think about the time cost associated with switching vendors, researching, interviewing, vetting them out, onboarding, getting all the dust settled. The time that you spent doing that, you probably could have just paid for your vendor to fly to come visit you and put them in a hotel for a night.
100%.
Well, and whenever we were talking about y'all hiring me, what I told them was, I would really love it if y'all would perceive me the same way that you would an in-office employee, where I know I work remote from Dallas, but, that's the benefit of an on-site for me is, okay, I get to know these people, I get to build the relationship, and it changes my paradigm from being like an order taker to almost like an advocate, like let me like fight on behalf of your company because I'm equally as invested as you and your employees because I've gotten to know the people, I've gotten to know the city. But then from y'all's perspective, like as my clients, it's how I want y'all to perceive me is the same way, because when you have an in-office marketing person or a CSR, like if they have an issue, maybe they make a mistake, like you're going to correct it because the cost of just firing them on a whim is going to be expensive. Or you're not going to bust into their office and just start screaming at them. No. You're going to help them grow. You're going to have discussions where you're going to brainstorm and you're going to have, maybe there is going to be conflict where it's like, hey, like we didn't do this, why didn't you? But I think what I've noticed being on the vendor side of it and having clients now and then being on the, being the client with the vendors is that the whole relationship changes and it's much more constructive when it's a collaborative partnership than if it's just like, hey, you need to do this. Like you should be perfect because you're the vendor that I pay all this money towards. It's, I would love to say that I'm perfect. I would love to say that I'm going to have the best ideas. And I'm always going to make the right decisions. But there does need to be like just as much grace and opportunity and construction that you would give to an office employee to your vendors as well. Should they be making as many mistakes? No, but it's still, I'm still a human.
And I love that you both see everyone as human, because something that I value in individuals, anyone, it's like, I always go by, surround yourself with people that will talk you up in a room that you're not in. And it's, both of you do that. I do it for the two of you. And I really pay attention to that. And you both have competition, right? We have competition. And it's so important to never like bash them, right? And I've never heard you do that. And you have so many people come up to you on a regular basis talking about the vendors they use and the companies that they've had hard times with or whatever. And you're never bashing them. You just step in to help them. And you provide them solutions to help them. And I think that's so important in growing your business. And that's why you are where you are today. Do you feel like that's made a difference?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've got competition. There's 2 or 3 competitors that come to mind one in particular, his name's Josh Crouch. Him and I talk on the phone 2 to 3 times a week for an hour. Like when I'm driving home from work. Like I'll call him and we're not sitting there like, ripping on each other. It's like, hey, what are you doing for this? Like how many clients do you put on one account manager? How much are you charging for this? And like, he's my direct competition, and he's his agency is bigger than ours, but we're direct competition, and like I don't even really see him that as competition, is kind of more of just a friend. But as a result too, like I can't be your digital marketing agency and also the next door's digital marketing agency.
Right.
And so when they come over and be like, hey, I want what you did for Rogers, I can be like, well, I can't help you, but Josh can. And so you can kind of just garner some goodwill, within your own space. So yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think it's great to just keep, to be Switzerland sometimes,
Yes.
and with everyone around you.
Yeah. And I think that's so important. That's where the relationship side comes into. And so for everyone that's watching and listening right now, what advice would you give to them if they're looking for a partnership in a certain area of their business?
Oh my. I would say ask questions about their, so 2 things. Ask questions about their strategy, and then analyze like what the relationship is going to look like, and ask yourself, where do you prioritize those things? I have some clients that they would rather receive mediocre results but have a really, really great relationship with their vendor partner, where like they're going to dinners when, they're talking to each other, going on vacation, but they're not getting the best results necessarily, versus I have others that they don't care about the relationship. If they talk to you once a month, great, but you better be killing it for them. And so just asking those types of questions about what's the overall strategy, because to your point, I think that's where I see many clients feel that friction, but it's also the value that like Eric's strategy is going to be different than Josh Crouch's, and that's okay. And so it's just a matter of picking that vendor partner that is going to execute what you're looking for. And yeah, I think that would be the 2 things that I would say there.
Yeah, I would say just trying to find the best relationship fit is huge for sure, and not to rush finding a partner for any given area of your business, because it is easy and to want to hurry up and get it done so you could check it off the list and move on to the next action item. But I think it is important to truly vet those, that partner out, that vendor out, whatever whatever it's going to be. It's because you want it to be long-term, type of play. And so something we even do, like when we do discovery calls, we'll typically tell them like, hey, we're on like a 4 to 6 week backup right now. We can't start you till, we'll add 4 weeks to today. And if that's a deal breaker, then it's just like, well, sorry, we're not a good fit for you.
Yeah.
Because like if it has to be done, like they have to make their decision today, the sooner they sign up, the sooner they're going to cancel usually. And so like but it's like, hey, like we're kind of, backed up here, and they're like, oh, that's no problem. Like I'm not in a hurry. That's usually like a screaming green flag. It's like, okay, we're not in like a rush. We have time to like get to know each other first, and really feel out the partnership or the relationship there before doing business. And then I would also say like some things you don't want to do. First off, if I know it's good to like get references or referrals, but like please keep in mind that like if someone is like, hey, I need 3 references, I'm not going to give you a bad reference.
It's so true.
Yeah.
So they're going to be like, well, I need you to give me a reference of someone who didn't go well. And it's going to be like, no. I mean, I'm going to give you good references. Like I'm not going to sit here and give you bad references. So like the whole reference thing if there's a couple that are like neck and neck and you're like, I can't choose and you need that, that's fine. But some people come around, they're like, I need 5 references. And here's a true story. This actually just happened. We had someone in Tennessee, they asked for 5 references of clients that have been with us for 4+ years. And I was like, ma'am, we haven't even been in business 4+ years. We're about to hit the 4-year mark. And she was like, it's okay. I need to see 5 references and then we'll be all set. And I was like, well, if you don't mind, can I get a reference from your current partners, like your marketing agency, your financing provider? And she's like, what? She was like totally baffled. And I was like, well, like, if we're going to check references, like I want to check references too. So I wouldn't lean on references super heavily. I would lean more on just the relationship that you have with, with that particular company or provider.
And it happens over time. I mean, we're talking here, and this has been like 5 years in the making of just forming that relationship. We have a different relationship now than we had when we first signed on with you or first met you. And we have a different relationship now than when we first met or I knew of you. And so it does happen over time, and you have to continue to show up for each other. And I think that's what makes this relationship so special. And the fact that I have 2 separate businesses sitting next to me right now, but we're able to come into a room and make magic happen. Because that's what I feel like we've done over the last couple days. Yeah. So let's talk about what we've done and kind of what a site visit looks like and how people should structure that. Because it's easy to say, hey, we're coming down, and you have 3 creative people in a room. It can go kind of haywire if you're not organized and don't have a plan of action in place. And we talked before you guys came, and it's like, okay, this is what we want to accomplish. You 2 got together and said, okay, we need to come up with an agenda. I'm not the best at like the agenda part. And so they came in very prepared. And then we've pretty much, my office here at Rogers has no windows. So we've been kind of in a dungeon.
The dungeon of dreams. Just marketing dreams.
The dungeon of marketing dreams for the past couple days. And what has that been like for the 2 of you to come up with our strategy for 2025?
Well, I will say, admittedly, I called Mckena and was like, hey, we need to put an agenda together, because I'm similar to you. I'm just like, and similar to Joey, like, let's just rip off some ideas for 2 days straight and then go home. And then nothing gets done. So I was like, Mckena, I was like, I've done this a couple times before, and it's like we haven't always followed through with some of the cool ideas or even remembered them. Yep. I was like, I think we should come up with like an agenda. So that was clutch. I'll tell you what a site visit looks like in South Boston, Virginia.
Okay.
It looks like high beams on at all times when you're driving at night, because those deers are everywhere. It looks like a cow standing in the middle of the road when I'm trying to get to my hotel room.
I don't know how y'all are driving 55 on those back roads. I was driving so slow, making people so mad last night.
Yeah, there was a cow just like standing in the middle of the road, and I was like yelling at this cow. It was like 8 o'clock at night. I was like, move! I was like, get!
Well, they closed like the one road going into our hotel, so we had to take a 20-minute detour. It's been great.
I mean,
quite the adventure.
The short couple days, I've introduced you to Southern Plenty. Mm-hmm. So shout out to Southern Plenty. Mexico Viejo. Mm-hmm. For dinner, we're going to Windmill to try out the amazing stuff there. So you're getting a feel for it. They're staying at Berry Hill. So River Road, for all the locals listening, has been closed.
Repairing a pipe.
FYI, so they have had to take a detour to get to Berry Hill this week. So it's been great.
Yeah.
It's been great.
But it's been a lot of productive planning. I mean, we sat down. Yesterday was really just a lot of ripping apart 2024 of, what did you spend money on? How much money did you spend? Did it work? Did it not work? Should we do it again? Should we cut it? And then today's been a lot of really, I said, mapping out what the year's going to look like for next year.
And there's some exciting stuff. I mean, it's going to be so fun for everyone that is going to participate and wants to participate. Hint, hint. You are going to be able to win some cool stuff, and it's going to be fun.
Like a little treasure hunt.
Yes.
We're going to put people on. Oh, yeah.
It is going to be so super neat, and I'm excited for everyone to be involved in it and kind of see what we put together. And if you have questions about it when you see myself around town, ask me, and I may give you some secret information and let you know before anyone else. So be sure to stop me and talk to me about it, because it's some cool stuff, and maybe you'll have an inside view of what to expect.
And Eric said something about us looking back that I want to address as far as one thing I do think, talking about vendor partnerships, that that my contractor friends do is they'll see something, like they'll look, in their Service Titan, and they'll see that it didn't bring in the return that they wanted to, and a lot will just cut it. They won't do a whole lot of research. They won't ask the vendors a lot of questions. They'll just cut it. And so I think like what we talked about yesterday when we were talking about, do we keep it, do we cut it, was, doing more research into the other resources. Like we looked up, like, where's the branded search been, like, year over year. And then we're looking in Service Titan, and there, I think what I appreciate about you is like there wasn't any ego getting in the way of being like, well, like we may not have taken advantage of all the opportunities that we had. So like this may not necessarily be the vendor's issue. This could be an us issue. And so I think that's the other piece of like the vendor partnership and the impulsivity of like making the decision of who you're going to work with. And then sometimes we're impulsive to make the decision of who we're not going to work with, when if you were more communicative, more patient, more investigative, then you would have been able to continue on and explore that relationship further. So
when we talk about, different marketing strategies and what we keep and what we don't, what I want to hear from everyone that is watching today is, what do you love that Rogers does? Like, what marketing techniques or what do you see out there that you love? Do you love the mailers, the radio ads, the vans? What do you love that we have done so we don't stop doing it? I want to hear from everyone here, because we have some great things coming, but we don't want to get rid of something if you love it. So let us know what that is. And
good question.
I do want to know too, if you're seeing us on TV. We have been on TV for the last few months, and I want to know, like, have you seen our ad on TV? We're super excited about it. It looks really awesome, but I want to know what your thoughts are. So comment below and let us know that.
Good question.
And, again, relationships are everything. I know that we've been talking all November, and we've been bringing people on about the growth that they've seen on our team and who we've added. And so I wanted to make sure that in continuing what we're thankful for this month, we talk about the people that you don't see all the time. And so I want to thank the two of you for being such an integral part of Rogers and the brand and the growth and the relationship that we've built.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you. I think something as far as this on-site has been that just stuck out to me is like how much you trust us.
Oh, yeah.
To look at Eric and I and be like, what do you think? What should we do? And then for us to have that input, and then you go, okay. I think it takes the wind out of our sails sometimes, like as vendor partners, of like constantly being questioned and people telling you no constantly when you have these ideas. So it's nice to have you.
Yeah, that's true. And I think that it also, I think that y'all's community is extremely fortunate to have you, the whole Rogers family serving them, because you care so much about your community and about the people in them, which is not common for contracting companies. But also to Mckenna's point, like, it's pretty rare that we'll get, clients that are just like, not completely like do whatever you want, but like when I'm like, hey, we should put a crossword puzzle on the website, they're usually like, that's stupid. I need leads. But you're like, wait, that's brilliant. We need to do that tomorrow. And so like, I think to have that trust in your partners is awesome. I would also say, because I know there are a lot of contractors that listen to this through like Service Nation and your following. I would say, like, for any contractors that may be listening to this, like, hiring someone like Mckena is an extremely wise investment in your business, because someone like Mckena can truly be that neutral, like third party that kind of like rallies everyone together around a plan, which is great, because like if it's just me in a room, all I'm thinking about is digital, because that's what I do. If it's just your TV guy in the room, he's just thinking about TV because that's what he does. So like his interests are keeping the TV going, reporting on the TV, talking about the TV. I'm talking about keeping digital going. And so it's nice to have someone in the room that's just like, did that work? Did that work? Did that work? Did that work? And you're answering yes or no about things working doesn't affect their plan, that they're coming up with. So I think that the missing piece that a lot of contractors don't have is someone to really kind of tie it all together into a plan.
100%.
Being blown to and fro by Facebook groups and
Yes.
and conferences and whatever works for their contractor friend across the United States when they don't have any context into what's happening in South Boston that's making y'all so successful. So
It is
thank you for
huge.
that, Eric.
Yeah, and I mean, I went to Eric, gosh, for years now. I'm like, okay, we have all these programs. We're doing all these things. We sign up for all this great stuff, but then I don't have anyone to manage it. And I'm like, what do I do? Do you guys do that? And you're like, no, we don't do that. I'm like, do you know anyone that does that? And you're like, no. And then 6 months ago, Mckena starts True North. It's like, yes, we do know someone that does that now and does it so well. And you, when we were getting ready to sign on with you, you're like, look, I may not know everything, but I'm going to learn if I need to. And so you are going to dive in and analyze everything that you need to, and you've done a great job at that. So thank you for helping lead us in the right direction. Thank you for helping us in our growth and being so supportive of us along this journey. And I can't wait to see what 2025 brings with the three of us at the forefront of bringing all the cool stuff to you. And I mean, if you're loving it, I want to hear about it. And if you have any ideas of things that Rogers could do in 2025 to make it a fun experience for you and make it even more than just HVAC, plumbing, and electrical. Like, we want to be your whole home provider, of course, and your trusted provider in your home, but we can do so much more. So what should we do next? You let us know. Thank you for being here this week.
Thanks for having us.
It has been an amazing couple days. It has me fired up, and I just appreciate your relationships so much. So thank you.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate you.
And thank you everyone for watching and listening to this episode of the Rogers Radio Podcast. Be sure to rate, review, subscribe, comment. I asked you to comment on a lot of things, so I can't wait to see and hear what you come up with and how you feel about this amazing relationship that we have. And if you have any questions and want their contact information, reach out to me. We'll be sure to link all of their information in the bio, and we will talk to you next week. Bye.